Formula 1 is weird, as if you didn't know that already. Examples: that year where Mike Hawthorne scored 24 9/14 of a point, that time where Jackie Stewart's DMT stricken cousin invaded the Hangar Straight, and that time where Marco Apicella only went 800 metres in his only Formula 1 race, thereby culminating the shortest career in Formula 1, except it wasn't. It's a common misconception that Apicella has the shortest career in Formula 1, but for the actual title holder, we have to go way back. 1953 was an interesting year. Ike Eisenhower was sworn in as the president of the land of cheese, Sir Edmund Hillary and his slave climbed Everest, and as I'm pretty sure you would have guessed by now, the shortest career in Formula 1 had been accomplished. The German Grand Prix of 1953 was an interesting one at that. Alberto Ascari had qualified under 10 minutes around the Nordschleife, going nearly 4 seconds faster than Fangio. Giuseppe Farina would win his last Formula 1 race in his fruitful career, and Akihito, Crown Prince of Japan, was in the stands, thinking to himself, "Nihon no driver wa doko da?" As well as this, an array of Germans took part in the Grand Prix. 7 of these drivers would be driving Veritas. These cars weren't particularly fast, and they proved to be somewhat fragile even for the age. Only 3 of the 7 Veritae would make it to the finish, with the remaining 4 retiring from the race, obviously. One of these unfortunate pilots was a man by the name of Ernst Loof. If you haven't heard of Ernst Loof, that's okay, because I haven't either. Loof had modest success in motorcycle racing and Formula 2 racing, but Formula 1 was a whole different kettle of fish, and he was about to learn that the hard way. Interesting thing about Loof was that he was one of the founders of the Veritas company, and was the head designer of the car that he entered the race in. I guess you can put him along the likes of Brabham and McLaren, people who design, built, and raced their own cars in the mad world that is Formula 1. At least that was what it was on paper, because he was one of those 4 Veritas drivers not to make it to the finish, and his was the first to fail. After qualifying 31st, 2 minutes and 17 seconds slower than Ascari, and around 18 seconds slower than the next Veritas, Loof took to the start line in his first ever Formula 1 race. It would also be his last. The green flag dropped, and it ended shortly thereafter. His car had betrayed him, breaking a fuel pump at the very start of the race, forcing him out. So how far did he get? Well, let's bring in some contrast here. Apicella went 800 meters before retiring. Loof went 6 feet. Yep, 6 feet. This guy's Formula 1 career was shorter than a full Jeremy Clarkson. And actually, interesting point, being only 6 feet, he actually wouldn't have even made it to the start line of that damn race. His career ended before he made it to the actual physical start line. A somber ending for the Veritas brand, as this would be its last outing in Formula 1, and even as a motoring entity at all. The company had already gone bankrupt and was eventually swallowed up by BMW, and Loof would later die 3 years later with a brain tumour. Damn, this has gone dark real fast. Okay, cue the music.